Hey, what's good? Game on, Wisconsin. It's always better to meet you at post game after a W. I'm joined by Amar Desai and Kedrick Stumbris for our post game here, coast to coast post game. And I'm ready. I'll throw it to you first, Amar. I'm ready to hear your knee jerk reaction.
A win's a win. You know what? That kind of running game, I know we don't normally do that because we have a guy like Jordan who could throw the ball, but man, some of the things that LaFleur was taking out of his bag, I literally thought I was watching Kyle Shanahan back there. It was insane. Some of the run plays and just the way like all the misdirection and the defense came to play. I mean, the Colts are shooting themselves in the foot so many times. They must have had like 4 fumbles. And I mean, I'm just saying, McKinney, yeah, that was probably like one of the better. That's almost up to there with Charles Woodson. I'm not saying he has the impact like him, but getting a free agent, signing him, and him having that kind of impact, it's absolutely amazing.
What about you, Kedrick? Knee jerk reaction for today.
Packers escaped with a win today. That first half was a thing of beauty, a Matt LaFleur masterclass. But that second half was just filled with opportunities for the Colts to win this game. I think you take away a dropped pass here and there by some of these Colts wide receivers who did not impress me in this game. A.D. Mitchell had a couple of confounding plays in this one. Missed kicks. Like this could have easily been a Packers loss, but yeah, like Omer said, a win's a win.
Yeah, I did a preview of this game this morning, and I thought to myself, it's going to be ugly if we win. I ultimately went with a 23-17 Colts prediction, but like you guys kind of touched on that. First half was a thing of beauty defensively. The ground game was just eating it up, and Jacobs puts that ball in the end zone rather than fumbling into the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. And like Soder said, right? Can't leave 10 points on the field. And with that
100%.
missed field goal and that fumble into the end zone, this game could have been over early. But because of the win, I think that changes some things, and like a win's a win, right? In pro football, luckily it's like there's no ranking. It's, I know we have our power rankings, but it's like it's a win or a loss. It goes into your column. That's really it. So today on our post game, we're going to talk about Malik's performance. We're talking about Love's return. We're going to talk about the big defense, special teams. We're going to pick some players of the game. But before we do that, just want to give a shout out to Tundra Town Clothing Company. Umer's rocking a Green Bay football tradition of excellence hat. I'm rocking the Milwaukee Brewers Fear the Beer shirt. Brewers are going for a sweep in Arizona. I don't know how often we get to do that. That's what I'll be doing post game. And but hey, go find your Tundra Town clothing at tundratownclothingco.etsy.com. 100% cotton, locally printed in Green Bay. Use that discount code, baby. Game on Wisconsin. Game on we. Joe over at Tundra Town. Awesome dude. Go get some clothes. I'm going to probably have that spiel one more time before the end of the show. But this time I'm going to reverse the questions, order of questions. I'm going to start with you, Kedrick, and we're going to talk about Malik's performance. We're going to start off with there, right? No love. We got to talk about Malik, and you might want to break it down first half, second half. I don't know.
I mean, I don't really have a ton negative about him to say that wouldn't be really only in the scope of what his limited capabilities overall are. For what we would have expected of Malik Willis, I thought he delivered beautifully today, right? Like 12 of 14 on the day, whatever it was, like awesome for 150 yards. I wasn't going to ask him to do anything other than that if I met LaFleur. Malik Willis post-game today just, I think, stepped off from his media availability, and he said that he had full control to change the line or change the play at the line of scrimmage. So clearly The coaching staff came in and were impressed with his ability to prepare, which again, I think is really all you can ask of a guy like this. Showed some ability to scramble, and that was fun. Also, just from a human element standpoint, he looked like he was having the time of his life out there, right? I love to see that. I think he did just enough. I think the second half struggles were less about him and were more about the just Indianapolis queuing in on the run and selling out to stop the run. Because when Malik had his ability to take a shot, right, for Romeo Dubs, the like F it Romeo down there somewhere throw, it worked. He had the arm to do it. I was overall pretty impressed with Malik Willis today.
And you, Amar, how you feeling about Malik's performance today?
I think he came in and did what a lot of people didn't expect him to do. What I mean by that is when he had to make throws, he made some big time throws. I felt like LaFleur did play safe with him because he didn't have 100% trust in him, knowing that he had just came here not too long ago, like 3 weeks ago. I kind of wish that he had let him take a couple more shots, but it all worked out in the end. I agree too. He did look like he was having a lot of fun, and the truth of the matter is that he came in with so much hate, kind of being just in the media, right? His last starts when he was a rookie, he had Taylor Lewan coming out there and really just kind of dragging him through the dirt, considering the fact he played with him 1 year, 3 years ago, his rookie year. And for him to come in, have a 136 quarterback rating. Obviously he didn't throw the ball a lot, but when he did, he made some pretty good decisions. I mean, everything's within 5 to 10, 15 yards, right? But all in all, just to see him out there running the offense as best he can. And I do wish in the second half, when Buckner went out, I think LaFleur thought they had a better chance of running the ball. That's why they kept with it. And they were just trying to kill the clock at that point. I just didn't I kind of said, if I didn't like the safe nature of things, when they got the ball back in the first half, with 2 minutes, within the 2-minute warning, I was like, yo, go down the field and kick a field goal or something. Just kind of put your foot on their neck as much as you can, just like I said last week. But we had an opportunity to really kind of close it out. And you're right. The Colts are really seeing the mistakes that they had. They're not a good football team. I think they have a lot of talent. They're just not able to put it together just yet. So all in all, Malik, man, he did what he needed to do. He came in to back up. He won us a game, and that's all I can ask for.
Yeah, I'm there with you. The first half, I think he was 4 of 5 for 22 yards or something like that. Mm-hmm. But we were up 10-0. We should have been up 17-0.
Exactly.
With that stat line.
Yeah.
And I think you're up 17-0. I honestly think if they would have been up 17-0, they would have been more open with that final drive before half. Because it's if Malik makes a big ass mistake and you're up 17 and say they get that, a pick six, oh shit, whatever, we're still up 10. But you're up 10-0 and you're on your own 20 and Malik gets a little carried away and he makes a big mistake. And then all of a sudden it's 10-7 at half after dominating a half. So it's kind of weird that you stayed more cautious because the game was closer. So I feel you though. Part of me was just hey, this might be a chance. There was another time after one of the turnovers where we were on the 45 of the Colts, and I thought to myself on 2nd and 9, whatever it was, this is your chance to take a deep shot.
Yeah, same.
This is the spot. This is the down. This is the perfect opportunity, and that's not what happened. So I'm there with you too. Is Malik did exactly what he needed to do. He didn't turn the ball over, made some plays with his feet, made a few plays with his arms. But hey, his stat line was better than what Caleb Williams was last week. And I put it out into the world this week about who was going to have the better stat line. So Caleb Williams, you're up, man. We'll see if you can outperform Malik Willis tonight. The whole nation's watching you, Caleb. No pressure. And so let's Malik's performance, right? Like you said, it's been a while since he's really had an opportunity like this. He did all the right things for us today. What you really want to do is avoid the 0-4 start, right? When with Love gone, we've done that now. Now, if you're so let's change gears and talk about Love's return. Does this change Love's return? Are we trying to push him back for week 3 now, or are we in a spot where we're oh well, maybe we don't need to rush him back and we can really just take our time and make sure he's ready for week 4. But thoughts, Kedrick, on that? Like Love's return, is this different now?
My take is more, I think clearly this franchise is in on Love long term, and despite the additions that you made this offseason, I don't think you can risk Love's short term, like having Love on your team short term for his health long term. I think it's a poor investment on a guy who was at the time of signing the highest paid quarterback in NFL history, gave him the highest signing bonus in NFL history. I don't think that's smart. I'm still curious to see especially if the Vikings win again next week, right?
Yeah.
Do they try to get him back for week 4 against the Vikings? That, I think, it being a divisional game in week 4 is the only thing that really makes me think maybe they try to squeeze him back quicker than I think where they're aiming. At least, who was it? Rappaport reported this morning. They're trying to target that week 5 game against the Rams. I think if Minnesota wins again and Minnesota's 3-0, maybe they try to hurry him back a little bit, because you need to stay in, if not the division race, the wild card race, and then Minnesota's positioning itself as another threat for those wild card spots. I don't know. I guess that would be my only concern. But as of now, you at least have a win in the bag. I think being 1-3 is still a pretty bad spot to be in, but
Yeah.
it's you're here, and the Titans looked better this week than they did last week, but still maybe is a team, I think, with Malik Willis, even if he's 3/4 of what he was today, I think the Packers can still win that game in Tennessee. We'll see.
Yeah, I have more hope going. See, like how we pulled out today's game, I thought that's how maybe that Titans game would go next week. I'm feeling a little more confident maybe in that Titans game now.
Yeah, the Vikings, by the way, host the Texans next week. So if Minnesota can pull that off, that might be a big sign of what what Minnesota is, unless we're really off about what Houston is, I guess.
Yeah, I'll say if Vikings beat Niners and Texans back-to-back weeks, I might actually think they're legit.
Yeah.
What about you, Amar? Where's your mind at Love's return now? Are you just like, hey, just take your time at this point, or are you still thinking hurry back?
I mean, yeah, I'm a little bit opposite of Kendrick on that one. He looked pretty good walking around there, right? He had the sleeve on his leg. I feel like they had him questionable all week, and then they probably had him go yesterday. It didn't look too well, right? But the fact that it's between a grade 1 and grade 2, I think like if there's no chance of him furthering the injury, then I'm like, hey, you bring him back next week, because Vikings are right now 2-0, Lions are 1-1, right? I'm not too worried about that, but I do agree that is something to be concerned about, right? The biggest thing is like knowing that he is your franchise, but if there's no way he can injure it more other than something freak happening, then I'm bringing him back next week if he can go and going up against Tennessee, because it gets to a point to where, it's kind of like how you got to tell him no too, right? Because when Rodgers had the broken knee and he had the tibia fracture with the with the sprained MCL and everything, he was back that next week. I think he could have probably played this week, but they were like, nah, dude, we're going to keep you out a week. A part of me is just kind of like, yo, man, I just don't want us going 1-1 right now is huge. And I think us winning tonight makes a big difference. I agree with you. Like that might make them feel like, hey, you know what? We can keep him out another week and then have him back for, Rams, Vikings, right? But me, I wanted him to play this. I wanted him to play today, man. That's me, man. I'm selfish like that. I'm not gonna lie, but he is the franchise. You gotta be careful about that. And yeah, to be honest with you, I'm just I can't wait to see what happens this week, because what you have in Malik, and of course the story with Malik next week would be a revenge game against Tennessee, right? And Tennessee just went 0-2, and honestly, they had a chance to beat the Jets, and they had a chance to beat the Bears, and they're just just screwing themselves up right now. So you know what? Maybe Malik comes back and shows them up, or Jordan's back that week, and we have a chance to see our quarterback back in the starting position. Yeah. And FYI, Marvin Harrison Jr. must have heard about all the drama, because he just has 2 touchdowns already. He's lining them up.
Yeah, I think he got unfairly kind of roasted last week. And it's like, bro, he's a rookie. It's his first game. Like, chill out.
100%.
But But some last thoughts here on Love's return. I'm in the place of we're like, we won this game. I don't want to see him next week. Like, if we win next week and we're 2-1 going into that Vikings game,
Yeah,
I'm okay with not seeing him there. In my opinion, as soon as the Packers maybe lose, and then they're in a, like, you're right, Kedrick, we don't want to fall back too far. So I'm kind of in the favor of like, no, you're going to Malik Willis revenge game here. If he wins, maybe you're letting Love rest one more time, depending on that Vikings-Texans game. But
yeah, I think I'm with you too. Just also like the Lions losing today, I think that's big too for what you think about your potential timeline for Jordan Love. If your goal is to win the division, like you're still evened out with Detroit, let it ride, right? If you can just let it ride and say we'll just have to go out at some point in time and beat Detroit head to head to do it, fine. Like let's let it ride with Willis at least another week.
The biggest thing is just knowing like how severe his injury is, right? I think that's the biggest thing, right? Like
right.
If in the NFL, everyone's hurt, right? So it's like, you don't want to hold him out too long, and then like I don't know. I just feel like it just. I'm sorry, I just want to see my boy out there, man. I think I'm being selfish as hell, dog. I just want to see him out there. Maybe it's because I have him on so many fantasy football teams. Maybe that's why I'm being a little selfish and just, very much on my own thing. But honestly, I get what you guys are both saying. Like, at the end of the day, you don't want to take any chance of further injuring him. But if we have a chance, if he has a chance to play and he wants to play and he's medically cleared, hey, let's go.
Yeah, it's it's going to be in the hands there of the team and of Love, and I think they'll make the right decision.
Yep.
But let's get back to today's game, and one of the things that I was so pumped about was forcing turnovers again, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And that's been a theme, right? We forced 3 last week, and then today, what was? I know there were some fumbles there by the Colts that we didn't jump on. But what was the total turnovers? Was 3 again. Yeah. So we have forced 3 turnovers in each week. I'll start with the defense with you, Amar. How are you feeling about this defense, this Halfley defense after 2 weeks?
I mean, honestly, great. Like, I think last week we didn't really get a chance to see the defense as full because the footing was all jacked up for both teams, right? But seeing how they performed today, lots of 3-and-outs, opportunities to get made turnovers, causing turnovers. I mean, Eric Wilson popped the ball out, and they almost had that one. He had an interception. Quay could have made up his whole day with that pick right at the end of the game. He missed it, but he had it right there in his hands. I mean, he hasn't playing hard. He hasn't playing fast. And, there was some – again, the run defense was kind of rearing its ugly head, but I wonder how much of that was game script. Like the Packers were looking for pass probably, right? Because they were up 2 scores. So thinking, these guys aren't going to run the ball. And instead what happened? Jonathan Taylor, he's a damn good player too, right? So he got his yards too. But, you kind of kept – they only scored 1 touchdown, right? And all in all, this defense has looked a hell of a lot better. I felt just with the way they've been playing. I mean, they've had what was that thing that we said? They had 8 turnovers last year, or something crazy. Like they had. It was small, much. Right? It was like single digits, right? And now look, what do they got already? They already got 6 turnovers in 2 games or something crazy.
I think they have 6 turnovers.
Yeah, I mean, dude, that is a dramatic improvement from last year. That's all I gotta say. I'm like, look, I can't wait to see as the defense plays more together and plays within the scheme because, in the preseason, they weren't really practicing. Like they're practicing probably, within practice, but when they're in the preseason games, they're very vanilla, right? Very cover 1, cover 2, cover 4. So because of that, you didn't really get to see what the defense is about. And now we're starting to see that. And the more and more they play together, the better I think they're going to be. Just like the offense was last year. Offense took some time to get to going. Defense going to do it. They're kind of hitting the ground, kind of running based on what they've done so far.
Yeah. What about you, Kedrick, and this defense?
I was impressed by Halfley clearly playing to make Anthony Richardson uncomfortable, have to make him do things that he doesn't want to do. What Anthony Richardson wanted to do was either scramble for big plays or take the top off of the defense. And the safeties, Xavier McKinney, Javon Buller, didn't let them do that today. Aside from Quay Walker being Quay Walker, I think they continued to set the edge well and contain Anthony Richardson. Now that 4th and 11 play late where Richardson dove for that first down, you have Quay Walker out there, who's supposed to be your uber athletic guy, able to chase down guys like Anthony Richardson scrambling. And yeah, he looked slow. But like apart from a play here and there, and also probably me being very let's say I'm definitely not a Quay Walker apologist already. So maybe I'm just having a little bit of confirmation bias keying in on him a little bit. But like aside from a few plays here and there, I thought Hafley did an excellent job scheming up the defense to hold a guy like Anthony Richardson in check. There's not a lot of quarterbacks like Anthony Richardson in the league. So we'll have to see what this defense looks like moving forward. But I certainly don't think that I certainly think that Hafley's defense will be up to the task next week against Tennessee based off what we saw today.
Absolutely. I'm stoked for this defense. It's I don't mind giving up some yards and points from time to time when you make big plays, and we've been making those turnovers. The next thing I would like to see are some more sacks, a little bit more pass rush. I understand these first 2 weeks though, right? Hurts, Richardson, not always guys you want to be blitzing and trying to push out of the pocket. Sometimes these types of quarterbacks, let's leave them in the pocket. Let's see if they can beat us from the pocket. Devontae Wyatt with I think the only sack for the Packers today. And it came at a great time.
Yeah, 100%.
Wow. That might have been Wyatt's biggest play as a Packer. Who knows?
Probably one of the best games as a Packer, honestly. Probably one of the best games as a Packer so far.
I'm pumped. I'm pumped for this defense. We're only beginning to see it come together, right? We go from giving up 34 points, and then we come back this week. We only give up 10. We get 3 more takeaways. Colts miss, was it like a 50-yarder, right? I think today, right? So there's things to like about this defense. I think the next thing that comes is getting that pass rush pumped up.
I think when you look at the defense as a scheme overall, I think the Eric Wilson interception is a really good place to look too, because that wasn't necessarily Eric Wilson making a play. That was Eric Wilson being where he was supposed to be in the scheme, right? Not getting sucked in too close to the line of scrimmage, not getting himself sucked off to the sideline, following a receiver, following a tight end. Eric Wilson was exactly where he was supposed to be on that play. Anthony Richardson, short-armed that a little bit, probably should have thrown to the outside, but like for a young guy like Eric Wilson to be right where he's supposed to be, clearly understanding the defense, I think you have to give a lot of credit to the coaching staff as well for Eric Wilson clutching that ball.
Absolutely. I was not when he first caught that, and then they kind of they crumpled over the top of him. I was like, who was that? Who just got an interception?
He was blanket coverage, dude. I was like, yo, Eric Wilson is an athletic dude, right? Like in space was kind of been always his issue. Like he's always been like a better blitzer around the line of scrimmage. For him to be able to run with that dude, be in the right place, right time. I couldn't agree more with Kendrick. He's right. Kendrick. I almost called you Kendrick Lamar, man. But I agree, and I think seeing Evan Williams out there too. I know he got an interception on the Hail Mary, but that guy's had an interception in every single game that he's played in. Like in every single game, he's had a turnover, preseason and now regular season, right? So I don't think he played at all last week. So I agree. Like the defense just looks better. It just feels better, looks better, and of course everybody knows I am also not a Joe Barry apologist by any means. So anything is better than that. And you're right about the sack. Like we were rushing 4. We weren't getting much pressure. Like we were getting pressure, but we weren't getting close sacks, right? Wyatt getting the one he did. One he did was awesome. And one of the things I noticed too was where Lucas Van Ness, I feel like needs to be on the field a little bit more. When he was out there, he was making he had the I call or as Aaron Negro would call it, playing football penalty for hitting Richardson right after he threw the ball and saying that was roughing the passer. And they're trying to say helmet. I'm like, dude, they're both 6'5". Like they're going to crack helmets, man. Like, what are you talking about? So no, I defensively, I think that they're going to be coming along, and I want to see more of 33 out there. And Javon Bullard has been as advertised. Not only was he kind of in run defense playing really well, but even in coverage. There was a pass to Grayson right by the goal line that he knocked out right last second. He was wide open, Also, I am also done with the Nixon slot. I'm done with it. I'm done.
Yeah.
I feel like there's times he's like, when he's in the line of scrimmage and he's blitzing and stuff like that, cool. But like when he's out in space, man, I'm like, I don't know, man. He doesn't look lost, dog. I don't know, man. I'm done with that. And Josh Myers running up the field for no. I know it's probably because the play took longer to develop. That Bama got called twice for an illegal man downfield. Y'all know I don't got no love for Josh Myers either. So all right, I'm done.
All right, before we jump into the next topic, always gotta take a peek at that comment section. Keith Soder says it was full 1970s football today.
Hell yeah.
True North responded, so whiskey or scotch when I watched the replay this week.
You drink Evan Williams. You drink Evan Williams today.
Tennessee whiskey it is. Tennessee
Absolutely. Keith Soder then jumped back in, though, said, wow, Ravens fall to 0-2.
Yeah. Dude, that was crazy, man. I'm not gonna lie. I had so many parlays going for that, and then screwed me up, man.
more surprising, the Ravens 0-2 start or the Vikings 2-0 start?
Vikings 2-0 start, 100%.
Like the Ravens play today again.
The Vikings played the Niners today, and then the Ravens played the Raiders.
The Ravens lost to the Raiders. Yeah. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess the Ravens been 1-1, not 0-2. I think they're both kind of surprising. Yeah,
this is where I think the surprising thing is that the Ravens have played against the Chiefs and the Raiders, so they have played potentially the best team and potentially one of the worst teams in the NFL, and the Vikings have played the Giants and the 49ers, potentially one of the worst teams and potentially one of the best teams in the NFL. So it's like I don't know. Yeah, I think I'd have to say Ravens 0-2 for not squeaking out, especially because they were a Kevin Durant toe away from beating the Chiefs.
That's so true.
Thursday, like, although their offensive line is stinky, man. That offensive line is
it's young, man. It's young, inexperienced, and that's the one thing that's going to bust up Lamar a lot because there's a lot of guys that they had there that are staples that are no longer there, and that's what's going to be busted.
3 new starters, not fun.
Also in the comments section, Chris Rhyme says he was agreeing with us earlier. We can be patient right now with Love. He went on to say, I think we can beat the Titans with Malik. Captain Kebbles here says, so we have a defense.
Let's not jinx it, but you might be right. Well, Roger's saying, shit, 2019.
And last thing by by Heath Soda here, 2 missed fumbles and a dropped pick by Walker. So there could have been more turnovers, right? There was a couple fumbles by Richardson there where he jumped back on him, and then Quay had the ball go through his hands and hit him in the face, and it ended up a completion.
Yeah, when that crazy to me how that stopped that.
When that play happened, I was just like, oh shit. I was just like, this is the kind of wacky stuff that happens for a team to pull it out at the end.
Yep.
The ball just bounces their way. But we held on.
No lead is safe, man. No lead is safe anymore.
No lead is safe.
3 scores, 2 scores, shit don't matter, man. It's always something, man. I tell you.
And we had a chance to put it away with another field goal. So let's talk about that special teams play today and how we're feeling about that. Is Bisaccia doing his job? Is Narveson an upgrade? Let's get into that.
I think that Whelan is going to be our first All-Pro, and he's definitely going to be a Pro Bowl punter. He is killing it. I mean, when we were backed up, he literally flipped the field. He punted to like their 15 or something.
Yeah, it wasn't insane. A 66-yard punt.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell? So if Bisaccia saves his job because of Whelan, I'm fine. And Narveson, he missed another field goal. It sucked. But all in all, I feel better with him out there than I did ever with Anders Carr. He's making all his extra points.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with that. That's the one that we weren't getting all the time. So you know what? If he gets these couple of kinks out the way, I'm fine with it. But
so he did that too, and then also to set up Indianapolis for that eventual Hail Mary attempt on the last play of the game, right? That could have been where did Evan Williams pick that off? That was Evan Williams who picked that off, right?
That was like the 3-yard line.
He picked that off at the 8. Okay. Imagine a different scenario in which the field position is just a little bit better because Danny Wheeler put that punt on the Indianapolis 5. Like, there's a different scenario in which that punt is at the 15. and then Anthony Richardson can at least get that ball to the end zone. That's a huge punt in the grand scheme of the game there.
Absolutely. Wellen is flipping the field, and that was something we absolutely needed from this game. I think all Packers fans knew going into this we weren't going to score 29 points again in this game. And so we needed a lot of things to go our way, and flipping that field position, right? I'd be curious. I don't know what the average starting field position was for the teams. I know it's a big stat, right? Time of possession.
We killed that. We
killed that.
I know that for a fact. I don't even know what it is. I know we killed it.
So Narveson hit from 46, 42, and 34. There was a close one there, which that makes me feel better.
Yeah,
because the one he missed, the one he did miss was what was a 45. And he hit two 40-yarders today, 40-plus yarders today. While last week, right, he had kicked 3, and they were like all 30 and like shorter, the 3 he made and the 1 40-plus yarder he missed last week. So he came back and he mixed 2 40-plus, but he missed one today. I feel a little more comfortable with Narveson, but we'll see how the season goes on. Cedric, it looks like you have something to say.
Yeah, to take the opposite side there, that first field goal, he barely snuck it in by the upright. The extra point nearly got tipped.
I got tipped. I think it got tipped.
I don't have a lot of sympathy for kickers who are missing NFL kickers who are missing shots inside the 50 personally. So I don't know. I left this one feeling a little sketched out by Narveson. Not that there are better options necessarily, but I just think at this point in time, it would not surprise me if Narveson was not kicking for this team by week 17. Right? We might see a rotating cast of characters here.
Because Alex Hale's still on the international exemption list, right? He's on our practice squad.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's a possibility there too.
Yeah, I'm sure there are lots of guys out there, but if anybody, we'll see. I didn't think this was a fantastic performance by Narveson by any means. I thought you could take away issues from 3 of his 6 kicks. So,
it's tough to say. I'm happy he made the 3 he did today, and
you needed all of them.
We needed all of them. But that last one, that miss, I don't know if it was the last one, but it was the miss. The miss could have been
put
that could have been the one. That would have nailed the coffin. I agree. Yeah,
and it would have been 19-3 with some time like 4 minutes left in the fourth or something like that. That's over. That game's over. He misses or he makes that field goal. So special teams, still some work to do. I looked maybe a little better than last week. I don't know. But our players, the Packers, did what they needed to do to get away with the win. That's what, when you put in your backup quarterback, it's just get the W. That's it. And we've been saying that all show, and we got that W. But let's talk about player of the game. Maybe you have players of the game. Maybe you want to pick one offensive player, one defensive player. You can start with either. Maybe we can go around. I'll start. I'll start here. I said today in my show earlier today that an X factor of the game was Malik Willis not turning the ball over. When he came into this game, I think he had recorded 0 touchdown passes in his NFL career compared to 3 interceptions. So today he comes in, right? He's a scrambling quarterback. He took a couple hits. There's no fumbles. He didn't make any errant throws or bad throws. He didn't, he avoided the turnover. 12 of 14, 122 yards for a touchdown. And that touchdown was big. That was a big play for Malik. And so my offensive player of the game, I know there's probably someone out there that thinks someone did more for, than Malik did for this offense. But my X factor, he completed his X factor. I said, this is what Malik has to do if the Packers want a chance, and Malik went and did it. So that's why he's my offensive player of the game, because, he challenge X accepted for Malik, and he got it done. One of you two got your offensive player of the week started. We'll do offensive players first, and then we'll go into defensive players.
I'm going to go with Josh Jacobs. I know that he should have punched that in at the end of the first half, and you could have put the game on ice early. I was talking, Amar, before you were here, I was talking with Bernie before we started the show. I would be fascinated to see what the swing in win percentage added on that play would have been between would have just held on to the ball for a second longer versus fumbling it. And I'm sure somebody has the model out there, because just like when you go to look at the WPA on the play individually, it's not necessarily going to factor in that it just straight up should have been a touchdown. It's going to factor in the percentage chance that it would have been a touchdown. But man, that swing, I got to imagine, is just massive for the game. Despite that, he did carry the ball 30 times.
Yeah.
Right? Yep. Carried the ball 30 times, 149 yards. He ran hard too, ran patiently. When they were stacking the line in the second half, you saw him kind of waiting, looking for holes to open. And when it wasn't there, he said, all right, F it, I'm going to try to run through. It was, I think he did a really good job with a hard assignment, knowing that a lot of this game was going to be on his legs, on his shoulders. I thought Josh Jacobs was impressive today, despite a couple of flaws. If you carry the ball 30 damn times, not every carry is going to be perfect, but 5 yards per carry, I ain't mad at that.
Yeah. I wish we would have seen a handful more carries from Emmanuel Wilson out of the backfield. It was nice to see Marshawn Lloyd out there today, but that was one of my go-tos. I said that Jacobs needed over 100 yards today for the Packers to have a chance. Over 100 yards.
I wish they would have gotten the wide receivers a little bit more involved in the behind the line of scrimmage stuff in the second half, because they were doing it well in the first half, and then second half it kind of dried up a little bit. All that crap with Jaden Reed, right? All that gimmicky crap, right? It works, right? Yep. Let's do that. Keep the Bill Melton stuff coming. Would have liked to see a little bit more of it to take a little bit of the load off Josh Jacobs.
Absolutely. And what about you, Amar? You got a different player there for offensive player.
You guys took the best ones. No, I'm just kidding. My guy was Tucker Kraft. I think not only was his ability to be able to be an inline blocker and to be a part of so many of those plays that bounced inside, bounced outside. His blocking was absolutely amazing. And then every time his number was called to catch the ball, to kind of be a little bit of a security blanket for Malik, he caught everything. I mean, he is going to be our tight end one. I know that they're trying to split them between him and Musgrave, but honestly, that guy just proves him week in and week out that he's our tight end one, just like Dobbs is our wide receiver one. Like Dobbs also was another guy that when his number was called, like Kedrick had just said, fuck it, he's down, he's Romeo Dobbs down there somewhere. Where art thou, Romeo? Let's find out, and he did, and it was pretty cool. I gotta admit, but no, Tucker Kraft was my guy. It sucks for Lloyd, because when Lloyd was in there, he had some really good runs. Penalties was killing us. We had, again, some really big plays that got called back for penalties. I think they figured it out, and they were like, all right, they didn't have any more holding calls after that, right? But there were some big plays that were called back, and I think Lloyd did get hurt. He had an ankle injury, and it just sucks because, the hamstring, the hip, and now the ankle. I was like, the whole damn leg is all jacked up right now, So hopefully he can come back, but having Emmanuel Wilson there it's gonna help. But Josh Jacobs, it's funny with Josh Jacobs, 30 carries. You never saw that with Aaron Jones, never, because you knew as much as they would want to do that with him, his body just couldn't take it. With Josh Jacobs, the way he's built and his reputation, his resume, he's a high carry back. And I know Jordan didn't play in this game. I know when Jordan's in there, we get a little pass happy. But dude, again, we should be giving Josh Jacobs 25 to 30 carries a game. Even with Jordan there, I get it. I'm saying, I know, he's our franchise quarterback. You're paying him $55 million a year to throw the ball. But, man, just see what Jacobs can do. He had 150 yards. He probably could have had even more, 149 yards. He could probably had more than that to include, probably he would have had a touchdown or two. If Jordan's out there, oh, my God, it's a completely different ballgame. So, hey, I'm all for giving him as many carries he can take and just running down people, because that gives our defense more time to rest. It beats the hell out of their defense, and it gives more passing lanes for Jordan Love down the road.
Absolutely. I just want to talk about I think was the longest play from the line of scrimmage today, which you said you're like we're out now Romeo, right? The adjustment that Romeo made to that ball while it was in the air was a thing of freaking beauty. I don't know if Romeo had that in his Batman utility belt last year, but this year he had it, and it was, dude, I loved it.
It was really impressive.
Yeah, it was like a quick stutter step and bounce back. He had a lanky cornerback on him at that time too.
Mm-hmm.
So to get up and get that ball, that might have been the offensive play of the game. That's not a field goal or a touchdown, right? Was that long 30? Like, we were waiting for that all season, or not all season, all game, right? We were waiting for Malik to take a shot downfield. We needed it. And that was a great timing. It was a thing of beauty. Let's hope if Malik's playing next week, we'll see a few more of those shots against the Titans. But I started with offense. So, Amar, I'm going to start with you for defense. You got your defensive player of the game ready?
Oh, man. Defensive player of the game. I mean, I know I have an idea about who Kendrick's going to take, so I'm not going to take his guy. But if
I have a guy.
I think you have a guy. So like on defense, I kind of feel like if I'm gonna go there, I'm gonna have to go with McKinney. I think his interception right off the top of the game, it was literally like a punt to him. You know what I'm saying? But for him to do that, and on top of that too, he was kind of, even from his position, he was in on a lot of plays. He was able to kind of help push out Anthony Richardson, who was going for a first down. Anthony Richardson, I expected him to run a hell of a lot more than he did. And it was funny, after that one long run he did come up limping. Like, I noticed that he was limping, he was grimacing, and I don't know if it was because of the play or he got hurt in that run, because he did one down to one knee, and then the ref was like, "Hey, you okay?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm fine." But I think he might have banged himself up. But no, I think Xavier McKinney, to me, he has finally solidified our safety position, and it's allowed us to not only be able to be interchangeable with Evan Williams and Javon Bullard, but just having a guy out there who knows what he's doing, knows where to be, and knows how to make the plays when to make them. It's priceless, man. Absolutely priceless.
Okay. Defensive player, Kendrick.
I do want to just piggyback off that, and
Absolutely.
Xavier McKinney, he adds such an important element to this defense. You just didn't have somebody anywhere on this defense last year, 2 years ago, who you could consistently count on to be back there just making plays, making his presence known. And that every time, once a drive now, it just feels like Xavier McKinney is somewhere affecting a play. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily getting his hands on the ball, not necessarily making a tackle, but it just feels like he is making a play at all times. I want to give a shout out to Carrington Valentine. He may have had I
guess wrong.
I mean, I could have gone with Evan Williams. I could have gone with Devontae Wyatt, but
nope. No, I should. Oh my God. Go ahead.
Oh, really? All right. Well, I want to shout out Carrington Valentine because I thought he may have sneakily had one of the most important plays of the game. He had that pass defense late in the end zone. Who was that? Was that on Phillips?
That was Mitchell. I think that was Mitchell.
Yeah,
I could be wrong, but yeah. No, it was Pittman. It was Pittman, because Pittman then smashed him into the ground.
That's right.
Yeah, Pittman. Yep.
In a world where, again, it's a 6-point game, any one of those shots to the end zones makes a huge difference. And I think fairly, Valentine has its doubters. I'm certainly one of them. But he showed up and made a big play when it really mattered on a 50-50-ish ball, maybe a little bit more in his favor than just 50-50, but made a really big play, affected the game, turned that into what that ended up just being a field goal drive then. Big play for Carrington Valentine, and I think deserves a shout out for it.
Right on. Yeah, that was a big play, and because if they score a touchdown there, right, we might be singing a different tune right now. Guys, you mentioned him briefly, Kendrick. For my defensive player of the week, I'm going to go with Devontae Wyatt, right? You kind of said it too, Amar, earlier, but this might have been his best game as a Packer. That sack, the only sack of the game, came at a great time. And it just seemed like our defensive line was doing a pretty good job of controlling that line of scrimmage. They did though start gashing us. I think in the run game there. Jonathan Taylor, he disappeared at the end of the game. Do you know did he go out?
He didn't get hurt, from my understanding. They said that there was no trainers
Yeah.
with him. There was nothing going on. I don't know if he was gassed or what, but
he did not appear like in the fourth quarter at all.
Trey Sermon's out there. I'm like, what are you doing? Taylor should be out there, man. If he's healthy, like you bring him out there and you let him. He can do everything. He's a 3-down back. Like
that was kind of
crazy.
I have no idea what the decision process there was, but that seemed incredibly silly.
Because Taylor was averaging over 8 yards a carry.
He was killing us. Yeah, dude, he had 11. Like at one point, he had 11 carries for 100 yards, something insane. I was
he had 12 carries for 103 yards on the day, averaged 8.6 yards per carry, and didn't touch the ball in the fourth quarter.
How many catches did he have? He also killed us in that too, didn't he?
He had two receptions for 32 yards.
Boom. I thought you were going to say Eric Wilson. That's why.
So,
I had him up before. I was like, he's going to roll Eric. That was perfect. Eric was all over the field, man. He caused the fumble that damn McDuffie almost had, and then homeboy pushed it out. He had the interception. And I'm an Eric Wilson guy before last week, and last week he pissed me off. I was like, okay, I don't want him out there anymore. And then this week I'm like, okay, maybe he can stay. You can stay. You don't need to be on special teams.
Well, it feels good though. Coming off a W, Amar and I will be back tomorrow with Coast to Coast Packers for our original time. Victory Monday is always a great time to have a show. And, before we get into our last words, I just want to remind our listeners, go check out Tundra Town Clothing Company, the official sponsor of Game On Wisconsin. Check out their gear at tundratownclothingco.etsy.com. Lots of great threads there, right? I'm rocking a Milwaukee baseball shirt, Fear the Beer. Amar's rocking that Tradition of Excellence Green Bay Packer football hat. Use our code Game On Wisconsin. Get yourself a discount on this clothing. 100% cotton, locally printed in Green Bay, Wisconsin. All right. Last words. Do you have any thoughts of some things, maybe I like to say sustains, things that you want to keep happening for this Packer team, or maybe some improves? So maybe for your last words, give me a sustain, give me an improve, give me a shout out before we head out of here. Who wants to start?
Shouts to Josh Myers, who puked all over the football before he snapped it. In this game. And like immediately before he snaps it, snaps it back. LaFleur post game, I guess, went up to Malik and asked him on this play because it was third down and 8. Asked him, why didn't you throw the ball? Because he ended up scrambling, even though even though the scramble didn't make a ton of sense. And Malik was like, I couldn't throw it because Josh Myers hurled on the ball. So Malik Willis couldn't get a grip on the
football. That sucks, dude. Another reason why Josh Myers shouldn't be out there.
Yeah, I mean, talk about if this game goes a little bit differently. Are we talking about Josh Myers throwing up on the football being a pivotal play in the game? At midfield on 3rd and 10. Oh, yes. But hey, that's football, baby.
Yeah. Amar, do you got any, or I don't know if you want to get to that Kedrick sustains, improves. You gave a shout out to Myers puke ball, but any sustains or improves you want to point out before we end it up?
I would like to see Quay Walker improve at anything. Seriously, what does he do well is something I find myself asking every single man.
He did cause the pressure on the interception. Him and Wyatt did cause that pressure on the interception.
That's true.
So I'm blitzing his ass all the time. I'm run blitzing, I'm pass blitzing.
My problem with that is I think the best place we've seen him on the field is blitzing from the slot. Yeah. But I would rather have Javon Bullard playing that position from the slot. Sure. So even where he is best, I would just rather have somebody else on the field in place of him. Doesn't mean that I have a lot of faith in the linebacker room overall, but just I think we're into season 3 of Quay Walker now, and I don't think we've seen marked improvement from him in really any facet of the game. Sustain. I will go back to the offensive line and not the raunchy aspect of it. I thought the offensive line performed really well today. I think they're doing the best with definitely a group that has taken a step back from last year. But a group that is still holding its own, and I think did a really dang good job under the circumstances of having a backup quarterback today, having to just go to task on whatever it was, 50 carries today, right? And just run block. That's hard on your body, man. So hopefully the Packers don't have to do that for much longer, and the offensive line doesn't sustain a ton of injuries over the course of the next few weeks.
Absolutely. Good call, Kedrick. What about you, Amar? Sustain, improve, shout out for your last words.
Sustain the run game. That's it.
Yes.
Just keep that going. I want us to be the number one rushing team in the league and to improve, even when Jordan was in there, improve our passing game. I know that, they don't get me wrong. It wasn't like it's like bad by any means, right? But I'm just saying like what that run game allows us to really kind of open up the playbook and really take shots and really push the ball down the field, which I feel like, Jordan has been a lot better since the second half of the season last year. And I think last week was a complete shit show, right? But I can't wait to see him back out there and just seeing now with the way the run game is playing, how well he can really kind of bounce off of that. Because one of the things about these Shanahan offenses is that they have great running games that allows the pass game to kind of play off of it, right? And I just think that the only thing this is going to do is make Jordan's life easier. So
absolutely,
those are my
right two. On. Before I get into mine, I just want to go in the comment section one more time. Caleb, good to see you. Sorry you didn't get to see the game. Glad you got to join us for post game. Hopefully you get a chance to catch that game this week. Most hated Minnesotan. Wyatt had a hell of a game. Yes, he did. And True North Packers fan says I did not have puke ball on my bingo card.
True.
All right, My sustain is keep turning that damn ball over, defense. I love it. Go get it. Go get that pigskin.
Hell yeah.
Give our chance to score extra points or give us a short field. I'm loving that from the defense. Let's improve that pass rush. I think it'll look better, right? Against two mobile quarterbacks, it can be tough. Next week, we get Will Levis. I want to see a multi-sack game. I'm hoping for 4 or 5. Packers record 5 sacks next week. They win the game.
Easy.
And I'm calling that right now. And for my shout out, I'm going to shout out the coaching staff, man. They had their hands full this week, right? They had 1 week to scheme against this team without the presence of love on the field. And this loveless Packers team got it done. They got it done with grit and hate, maybe. I don't know. But I'm pumped, man. That game's got me pumped up. And just want to say thanks for everyone joining us today. Kedrick, thanks for jumping in with us. For some of you that watch Game On Wisconsin, Kedrick is going to be, I think, help creating some more content here for Game On Wisconsin soon. It's really just going to be doubling down on what he's already doing, I think, more than anything. But go check out Kedrick over at Scotty Six Pack. Great things over there. He's covering all things Wisconsin. Amar and I will be back tomorrow. And hey, folks, as always, go Pack, go.
Go Pack.